Before we get into it, I just wanted to talk to you, the viewer, about the sub goal that I've set for myself this year. I want to hit 1,000 subs by the end of the year, and according to my YouTube analytics, just under 3/4 of you aren't subscribed when you watch my videos. So if you could please click subscribe and help me get there, that would be so very much appreciated. If you don't watch my videos, that's fine, but it would help other people who want to watch my videos come and see my channel because it helps me up in the algorithm. Thank you guys, let's get into it. Hey guys, my name's Zero and thanks for taking time out of your day to come and watch another one of my videos. Today, we are continuing the trend of reviewing every single vehicle in War Thunder in terms of tanks and planes at this point at least. We did Ground RB last week with the Archer. I would recommend that you go check that one out. I will put the link in the description. And we're switching back over to Air RB with another rank 4 pick for Great Britain, the Spitfire F Mk.22. I'm just going to say this right now. This is another plane that I really enjoyed getting footage for. And it's not something that I really expected to achieve given the situation that is placed in within the air tree. But let's continue on with the Spitfire itself and talk to you what you will be dealing with when you fly this plane out. The Spitfire F Mk.22 is, well, it's the Spitfire without having to deal with the extremely annoying detriments, opposite word of perks, whatever word that is. Someone with a better English vocabulary can answer that question for me. For now, we're just going to go with detriments. Without the detriments, it is a Spitfire without the detriments of having to manage the temperature of your engine. That is something that a lot of Spitfires have to deal with when at lower ranks. The engine overheats very quickly. You have to back up on the throttle quite a lot. Otherwise, you'll cook your engine, which gets really annoying because you'll get yourself into fights and you'll be on the back foot with your engine. So this thing patches up quite a lot of those annoying features. And it's also a really good climber. I mean, you can ride the wet and you can pitch it up. I think in some of these clips, I was climbing at an angle of like 30 degrees or something. This thing is a little bit of a helicopter, and also the fact that it's a prop just gives it a really good acceleration, not to mention that it also has a Griffin engine. Something that I'm sure that you've noticed in these clips though, is that this prop is going up against jets. That poses a little bit of an issue because the Spitfire definitely has its own advantages. Its low speed acceleration is absolutely nuts because, you know, it is a prop. Its turning performance is amazing. There are little to no jets that can outturn this in a dogfight, really. But at high speeds, I mean, you'll see this a lot in other clips too. They can just run away from you. There's almost nothing that you can do. You're kind of flying around the battlefield, not really doing anything, waiting to catch jets that have slowed down for you. And you can only really play energy, like in this clip right here. This LA9 is just stalled out, so like, he's an easy shot. I will pull the trigger on him in a sec, set him on fire instantly. But the Kika is just untouchable because he has so much speed, and there's literally nothing that I can do. This is pretty much what your game will look like most often, but occasionally you get down tiers like this, where you just are fighting props, you can catch them pretty easily, and you will catch up to a guy with a very interesting username, turn back into his squad mate, and fire off just as you make the pass and get 2 pretty easy kills, as the first guy calls you a rather ironic slur for his username in the chat. Stay mad, bro. This is to my 5 air quotes subscribers, and I told you that I'd see you on YouTube. The Spitfire is pretty much like this anyway. It's fun to play with when you can get yourself in situations. I mean, this SU9 could have dusted me, but instead he turned back into my teammate. And so I'm able just to pull in right behind him, keep my speed, and gain it back pretty quickly, whereas he would have taken forever to speed back up again once he slowed down. Here are some other rewards on your screen, but there's not much else to say with this Spitfire. I mean, 420 mil Hispanos hit pretty hard. 20 mils seem to be doing quite well right now too, so it's a pretty good pick. But here's a little bit of a freak show clip before we get into the gameplay narration. Other than that though, if there's anything else you guys want to add in the comments, feel free to do that. I'm still learning in this game as always. Feel free to correct me or add some things. I take criticism pretty well. But anyway, we're coming in for a runway landing. We hear a 262. We use our very good low speed acceleration to throttle up. And with one wing, we roll around his shots. He misses all of them somehow. And yeah, I have no words. Every time I look at this clip, I have no words. We have 2 machine guns left. We fire at the LA-200. Crit it. He somehow misses us as well. The invincible Spitfire makes his debut. And we just continue on straight in the hopes of landing at that other runway. But the SK-60 comes in. And yeah, we have to go head on with him as well. 821 flies past me there, but I didn't pay attention to him because I'm busy hosing this guy down. And he hoses me down as well. Not a whole lot I could have done there. But, you know, it's I just included that clip just to show that you could throttle up pretty quickly, and that is one benefit to this plane that you will want to be using very often. Along with its absolutely absurd climb rate, its turn time is really, really good, but I would highly recommend that, well, I mean, play against props like you would normally do, and then third-party jets. It's also a really good pick for grinding out, I mean, as well as the Tempest that I covered in my most recent ARB video. It's also another really good pick for grinding out rank 3, 4, and maybe even 5 if you feel like it. So yeah, a really solid choice for high tier props if you feel like playing Britain. I do want to offer some insight into the other plane that this vehicle is in the folder with, the Spitfire F Mk.22. Literally, I think the only difference between the F Mk.22 on the screen right here and the Mk.24 is the fact that the Mk.24 gets like stacked RP rockets in sets of 2, if that makes sense. I yeah, I just it's up 0.3 of a battle rating. This is at 6.7. The Spitfire F Mk.24 is at 7.0. And that just takes it up to 8.0. I'm not sure if it'll change with the next set of battle rating changes. If you're wondering how to play that, I mean, in terms of gameplay wise, it's pretty much exactly the same as this, except there's less of a chance that you'll be facing props, and the props that you do face are going to be the absolute gun-ho mega climbers like in the TAR 152 and etc etc. But other than that, yes, it plays the same. If you guys have any other plane suggestions, plane recommendations, things that you want me to review, I'm more than happy to do that. I don't have many high tier props, but while we hose down this Spitfire, just feel free to let me know in the comments below if there's any particular vehicle that you want to be reviewed, and I will try to get to it. Like I said, I don't have many high tier jets that I am able to use, but until that point, I will be more than happy to make a list and get back to you when I make the video. Feel free to let me know if I missed anything, like I said before, and let's head on over to a couple of full games so I can show you just how well I did in some of the matches that you are yet to see. And here we are, starting off the match with, yeah, just more of the same. Chasing around jets because I can't do anything else. But this is basically the stalemate that it's at. You have jets that are going to run away from you because they can see that they're faster than you, unless they lack brain cells and they turn in after you. But this is very important here. If I can't chase jets, I'm going to keep my altitude, because if I drop my altitude, either they're going to turn around, or you're going to have other jets like this MiG-9 over here that'll come into the picture, or other props, or maybe even all three. And they're going to have altitude over you, and it's not going to be very ideal. But yes, this is exactly what your games are going to be like. Not all of the time, but pretty often. I'm pretty fortunate to be up here in this super high altitude, uh, where I'm not really being contested by anything. My teammates are kind of just chasing them around for me, pushing them around to the deck. This is good. If you have a jet that's on the deck, then it's a lot harder for them to keep that energy because obviously there's no altitude for them to use to convert said altitude into speed that they can use to run away from. But I spot a target over here, and just as I zoom in towards him, there's a Spitfire that, well, deletes him. So that was pretty much my most reliable target that I could have dogfought. Dogfought? Dogfighted? I past tense words. Minor details, whatever. So instead I go for an AI just to get some free RP in. Wow, Hispano's doing the work. And then an F-84 shows up. I am going to use these buildings here to kind of obstruct his approach onto me, try and break up his approach a little bit, because it should be slightly easy, but I don't lead the shot enough. We avoid the building to avoid an incident happening that I will not make a joke out of. And we continue on over to this A21 because there are jets coming towards us. We're trying to see if we can make something happen, because otherwise we're just going to be flying around. So I head on the 262. Not a smart choice, but he pulls out and doesn't fire. MiG-9 coming in. We sprayed him for a little bit. We get a nice little severe. We take a wing off, I believe, and we pull in right behind this Albatross, who has just looped, so he's going super slow. And then he goes in for another loop again, and so we're going to use our prop engine to follow him up. We're going to get a couple of hits, which shouldn't have really been hits, because that kind of hit the back of his airframe. But we get a nice little squirt, and he gets his wing taken off. We're flying back towards the city, but another Albatross is coming in. So immediately I'm flying perpendicular to him, getting ready to make the shot as hard as possible to pitch up over his nose. But I see that he actually lacks brain cells and is going after targets. It's like I'm invisible, so we're going to take advantage of that. And we're just going to spray him down nice and easily right here. We severed him before we took his wing off. I don't know. This game's funny sometimes. Don't question War Thunder. But that's a nice and easy 3 little kills. Well, it will be when that MiG-9 decides to go down, but nothing much really happened for the rest of the game. I flew around for a little bit more, and then there was a guy that was spawn camping, I should say, the airfield, and he just decided to J out. Could have been a 4th kill, but we ended up getting the Sea Fury out of that, so we just invest our tax-free RP into our Vampire and continue on into the next match. I want to give an honorable shout out to, it's really difficult for me to see on the screen because it's too small, but is that Hikikomori? Is that Hikikomori? I think he's in a 262. I know that for sure. Great wingman, and you're going to see why in this match, obviously. It was a really good match. We were giving each other comms most, if not all the time, and it just worked out really well. He was working on the LA200. I went head on with the MiG-9, hoping to get some hits in. We got a hit in. I believe we took off his gear leg, which will increase his drag coefficient by quite a lot. He's going to actually go down later. I am not sure if I cut out the segment which will see him going down, but he will actually be technically our first kill of the match, considering that he does go down. But we're just going to keep our altitude here. You can see I'm looking down. It could be so easy to drop down on that furball just below me, but I'm really wary because there is always someone who appears out of the blue, and here we go. It's an F-80. So in my mind, I'm thinking, I'd love to drop down and take care of those guys on the deck. But there are 3 guys above me right now. And this is really stupid. I shouldn't have done this. But I wanted to get some hits into the F3. Maybe even take him down, best case scenario, because then it would have been a 3v2 or a 4v3. But alas, we miss our shots almost entirely. We get a couple of hits, and he's just going to circle back around. But we focus on this F-80. We take a couple of shots. We underlead the guns, and we're just going to turn in after him. Down goes the MiG-9. First kill of the match. F-80 turns in. He gets within gun range, but that's another thing that's really annoying about these 20 mils. Sometimes you fire it, and it just seems like, I don't know, the guns don't point straight. It's like they're pointed upwards a little bit, if that makes sense. It's almost like you point the gun straight, you shoot the rounds, the shell comes out, and then it immediately goes on an upwards angle. I don't get it. It's something that's a little bit difficult for me to explain just here using my words, but I guess the best way for me to explain it would be to encourage you to take this into a test drive and try shooting the guns yourself, practicing on targets, because they just get really annoying, but they're not too hard to learn, I feel like. So, it shouldn't be a really big issue. Um, you got our teammates up high while I was keeping these guys that had sunk down here distracted. They've been fighting the LA-200. I believe he's just gone back to the airfield. And Hikiko is... I think that's his name. I keep getting stuck on his name. Is taking care of the guy at altitude, which he does. Takes care of the F3D, and we're going to continue on to this MiG-9. Initially, I was thinking about taking the head-on, or like baiting the head-on to try and see if he'd pull up after me. But I realized he was going to do that anyway, and I also realized that I have hella speed and hella energy on this dude. We're going 600 kilometers an hour, and we're diving. He's going, I don't know, what, maybe equivalent to the same speed, and he's climbing. So he's losing speed, I'm gaining it. And so it's just super easy to wing over, and we're only 6 in one turn. Squeeze the trigger, insta-kill. You don't need to take head-ons, guys. Don't take head-ons. It's not worth it. Why would you go head-on against a 23, a set of two 23 mils and a 37? I had to think about that for a sec because the word's in my head. Why would you take that head-on when you can just do what I just did? Anyway, squeeze the trigger against the SU-11, recommit, realize he's recommitting, dodge that, and we are going to turn back in. But he was turning back in, but he sees that I'm turning back in, and so he's going to pull away, and he realizes, or he knows, that I am not going to be able to catch him in this fight at all whatsoever. So here I am again, left on my own, just trying to chase after him, and I'm communicating with Hikikomori, saying that he's going to run away, but this guy apparently lacks a brain cell, because he turns back in yet again, and I probably could have gotten a little bit closer, but he still would have run away anyway. I don't know why he turns back in at this point, but then the MB shows up, and I'm realizing, okay, I see why he's turning back in. So I tell Hikikomori I have the MB, because he would be a lot easier for me to dogfight, since he is going slowly, and we're just going to avoid that. We do not want to hear the brrrt as it goes into our cockpit, so we're going to squeeze the trigger. I don't know what happened to my rounds there. Maybe I underled them a little bit, but we just grazed his wingtips. SU-11's coming back in with some engine damage, but we're going to dodge his guns. Probably could have recommitted into that head-on there, but in my mind then he was recommitting, so we're recommitting back to this MB. We get another couple of hits, and he's gone. There's not really much that I can do. I mean, I can try and spray him down from a distance, but he's just got speed. He can dodge and weave. It's honestly unfair playing that plane against these props. I mean, any jets, really, if they have speed, they just kind of leave the Spitfire in the dust. There's not much that I can do. And so I'm just chasing him down. We have the fuel, we have the ammo. I'm chasing him down to give Hikikomori in front of us some help if he needs to, because the MB is quite maneuverable in its own right, but he does not need it. He just absolutely hoses him, and there's not really much else that we can do. So we continue on, going straight towards the F-84, because we need to initiate the fights in this. Otherwise, they're going to keep running away. And I'm talking with him in the chat, giving each other updates on our fuel count and our fuel ammo counts. I have enough fuel and enough ammo, but that's going to not be the case very soon. Would have been the case even shorter if he had connected some of those rounds. We almost hit an absolutely filthy keyboard shot on the F-84. We try to hose him down, get like another hit, because the Hispanos are just, I don't know. I don't know if I'm not aiming them properly, or it's just not working as they should. But he runs away. It's whatever. He pops smoke for a little bit. Sure, buddy. You can fly away with that engine damage in mind. So we turn back in for that F-84. And the F-84 crashes into the water, goes for a little bit of a swim, and so we're just going to go on for this F-84B, who decides to go for another one of my teammates, and ignores the Spitfire that was literally just shooting at him, and we pull into his 6 at 300 meters for free, and it's just a free severe damage. This is what I was talking about earlier, about using your teammates to get them slow. You need to wait until they're slow enough for you to do that, because you can't do that on your own unless they make some fatal mistakes. But anyway, F80 comes out of nowhere. We just dodge him. We head back to the runway because we have hardly any fuel and ammo left. But I'm sitting here on the runway and I'm watching in that direction because I know there's a plane coming. There he is. The F3D. Words cannot begin to describe how quickly I held down my throttle up key. I didn't even try to wing up. I just pointed my nose straight, tried to get as much speed as possible, get off the runway. I leveled out. I'm not even trying to meet him at this point. I'm just trying to get enough speed. I'm trying to dodge the head-on. Never mind. I'm not trying to dodge the head-on. It was a while ago. I tried to spray in the head-on to try and like make him deviate, but those rounds were way too short. So instead we're pitching off. We have enough speed just to pitch up over his guns. Just barely make it. I mean, if that was in a jet, I would not have been able to do that. Hikikomori tells me to wait because he's on the way and to try and link up with him, but I'm like, I can't do that. If I extend, this guy's going to get a free 6 position. I'm already going 340 Ks anyway. I'm leveling out. This F3D actually gives me some room to pick up speed. A little bit of a mistake, but that Spitfire was coming, and I'm just like, it's a head-on. I'm just hosing him. I take off both of his wings, I think, and I send him into the dirt. I mean, that's if ever there was a fight to get your blood pumping, that would have been it. I hope that these games were a pretty good demonstration of what you are supposed to look for in the F Mk.22, and I hope that you enjoyed this video. As I said before, feel free to let me know if there are other vehicles that you want me to review for air and ground RB. The STP and King Tiger, I believe, are vehicles that are going to be coming up soon. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and until the next one, which should be pretty soon, I will see you later.